Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off with arguably the biggest news of the night. We're talking about emulation on Android with EmuDeck. Yes, you heard that correctly. EmuDeck is headed to Android. So this information comes right from their Patreon. They say after several tests and my head hitting the wall multiple times, EmuDeck Android has pivoted a little. It won't be a dedicated app, at least at launch. And this is because of the limitations Android have in place because of its security measures since Android 11. So in order to automate everything as much as I can, you'll set up your Android device using the current EmuDeck app. Expect a first beta in maybe the next couple of weeks. Honestly, I can see this going one of two ways. The first way here is the way I hope it goes, and by that I mean goes well. I hope this is easy to use. I hope it makes it easy to download, install, configure, set up, and update emulators on Android, making this a real nice one-stop shop. And the second way here is the way I think it might go. And that is complicated to use, not fun to use, and not highly adopted. I mean, realistically, I think the lack of a dedicated app is going to be a pretty big detriment, but maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'm rooting for EmuDeck. We'll have to wait and see what shapes up here, and I think they've got a massive potential to really change the landscape of emulation on Android, especially for people new to the scene, or for people looking to make things easy. But moving on, and next up we're talking about Gopher 64, an N64 emulator written in Rust, and Gopher 64 just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 0.1.3 is the latest update. We've got fixes, improvements, and optimizations. It's not necessarily a massive release, but at the same time here, it's the first release of 2024. The last time this was updated was back in November. It's available for Windows and Linux. It's 100% free and open source, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. And speaking about performance, next up we're talking about Virtual 64, and this is another quick one. This one is for macOS, and it just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 4.7 is the latest update, and we've got a performance improvement here. They've improved thread management. For those who may not be aware, Virtual C64 is a cycle-accurate C64 emulator for macOS. And speaking about C64, next up we're talking about C64 emulation and also more with Z64K. And Z64K also got a brand new update. This one's pretty quick and arguably pretty niche. It's an accuracy improvement. It's a minor timing fix for C128 writing to Z80 port. But next up, we're talking about something I would argue is not near as niche. We're talking about GameCube and Wii emulation with Dolphin Emulator. And Dolphin Emulator may be getting a very interesting feature that a lot of people I think are going to like. This information comes right from the Dolphin Discord. I've been informed by Snow that the Retro Achievements devs are going to begin the development rollout for Dolphin on February 1st. Rollout will be for developers only, with some people given permissions to do player testing. Rollout will be indefinite with no end date until we're satisfied with the player testing, and we expect somewhere around 3 months. So there you have it. It appears that Dolphin is finally going to support retro achievements around the May-June timeframe, give or take. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation, and PlayStation has just announced a brand new state of play happening pretty soon on Wednesday. This one is going to be massive, over 40 minutes long. There's going to be over 15 games showcased. And they're going to be showcasing stuff for PS5, PS5 VR, and possibly even more. They say here you'll see games like Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin. It's going to be showcased on YouTube and on Twitch. I'll drop a link in the description below. Next up, we're talking about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. And we talked about this game yesterday when they made the interesting choice to add Denuvo to a live service game. I don't know what they were thinking here, but this game has been met with a lot of skepticism. And things did not go well for this team today. So this game is set to be released on February 2nd. However, apparently for people who pre-ordered the deluxe version of the game, they got a 72-hour head start. They got early access. And this is where kind of crap hit the fan. Here's a tweet right from the team. They said, "We're aware that a number of players are currently experiencing an issue whereby upon logging into the game for the first time, they have full story completion. To resolve this issue, we will be performing maintenance on the game servers. During this time, the game will be unavailable. We expect this to take several hours. and we'll update once we have more information. Fortunately for them, they say they've identified the problem that was affecting player profiles and are currently testing a fix. We hope to implement it and have the game back online as soon as possible. However, unfortunately, unless I'm missing something, the game is still currently down. It's been down for over 17 hours and counting. Now, I'm not going to say the people who pre-purchased this game specifically for the early access are getting hosed, but arguably this is not a good look. And this does have de novo on it, so I guess they can't complain that piracy is a source of low sales if the game doesn't perform well. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. But moving on, and next up we're talking about my favorite free open source cross-platform video editor, and that is Shotcut. I currently use Shotcut for this YouTube channel. It's on my Steam Deck, it's on my laptop, and it works incredibly well. It's simple, it's straightforward, and best of all, it's free. And Shotcut just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 24.01 has just released. And this has a whole bunch of bug fixes as well as some brand new features here. For example, they added timeline, edit, and split all tracks at playhead. They've also added into the timeline here nudge forward and nudge backward. And they've added in support for undo and redo for adding, removing, changing, and disabling filters. Next up, if you're a fan of Deus Ex and you're hoping for a brand new game in the series, you might be upset to know that Embracer Group has canceled the next Deus Ex video game. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the Bloomberg article in the description below. Apparently, the game was being worked on for a couple of years. And on top of that, the studio says they've let go of 97 people due to the global economic context. So they've joined the ranks of a whole bunch of other studios in letting go of people. But moving on, and next up we're talking about ChimeraOS, a Linux-based distribution heavily influenced by SteamOS, and ChimeraOS just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, ChimeraOS 45 is the latest update, and I'd argue this one's pretty big. They've updated the base kernel from 6.5.5 to 6.6.10. You may notice some performance improvements. They've included HDR patches. Yes, HDR is now available. And if you've got an Asus ROG Ally, they've included Fluke Jones's ROG Ally controller and audio patches, which may improve some things for you. On top of that, they've enabled Vulkan support for some older Intel iGPUs. They say your mileage may vary. There's a massive amount of bug fixes and even more. If you use ChimeraOS, you may want to make sure it's updated. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about custom Robo GX for the Game Boy Advance, and this game just got a brand new English translation. It's up on romhacking.net, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. They say the story portions are incomplete, but almost all things that are gameplay relevant are fully translated. If you're not familiar with custom Robo GX, I don't blame you. It was a Japan exclusive game that was released back in 2002. And basically you can customize robots and have them battle. And speaking about Japan, next up we're quickly talking about Assassin's Creed Red. And here are the latest rumors for the game according to Twitter. It will be the most enjoyable game in the franchise. I mean, that may be debatable depending on which one you like the most. The world premiere trailer will be in May of 2024. Gameplay showcase is in July, and the official release is in November. For me, I'm still a big fan of Black Flag, and I still think it's the best game in the series. I mean, it's fun to be a pirate. And speaking about trailers, next up we're talking about Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the NextGen edition. And there's a brand new trailer for this game that has just surfaced on YouTube. For those who may not be aware, this is a remake of Grand Theft Auto Vice City and GTA 4's game engine. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is an unofficial fan project, so there's no guarantee that it actually sees the light of day. But I'll drop a link to the trailer in the description below in the event that you wanted to check it out. Moving on, and I've got two topics that people have requested in previous videos. The first one here is Arcade Time Capsule. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't checked this one out myself yet, but apparently you can play a whole bunch of arcade games in VR. I'll drop a link to this YouTube video in the description below and feel free to check it out. There's also a Discord link in the description of that video, and it appears that version 2.0 is coming soon. Now, this project has been around for a while. It uses MAME, and if you use it, let me know in the comments below and let me know your thoughts about it. And last up here, we're quickly talking about CTGP 7, and we've talked about this one a few times on the channel, but not this update. For those who may be unaware, CTGP 7 is a mod pack for Mario Kart 7. It adds new things to the game, such as custom tracks, characters, and even more. Someone pointed out that CTGP 7 was updated to support Citra, and there's a tutorial for it over on gbatemp.net. I'll drop a link in the description below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.